Hello again, good to see you. So, I want to jump onto a particular topic that I am quite familiar with. This one is IoT, Internet of Things. In particular, I did a video where I was looking at Core Bluetooth for an iOS app. I'm very familiar with that whole system. So, I did actually have one question from a gentleman about the connectivity of Bluetooth devices. And so, what I want to dive into today is just the three primary systems, and I want to dig into this in more of a work on the product kind of video. So what I will do is I'll share with you guys the actual best source for iOS in particular, and I'll also share some libraries that you could use if you wanted to deal with connectivity. iOS is definitely a lot easier to manage Bluetooth, whether it's background connection, whether it's reconnection, whether it's maintaining the connection over time. So I'm going to dive into some of the core use cases for connectivity there. The core connectivity cases are kind of like first connection pairing, second connection open device, like where you open device and it reconnects, and the third one is background connection maintenance. Now, all of them are interconnected on iOS. On Android, it is also very similar, but there are different ways to do it, and it also depends on the library. The one that I'm using is the Nordic one. Nordic Bluetooth, the latest version, will dive into that. So this one, I want to talk to you about the three different connectivity systems. And what we're going to do is we're going to dive into the primary source of information for Bluetooth on iOS, and I'll also dig into the Android version too. So what we'll do is we'll just go into a website, go through the location of the use case, and we'll kind of like discuss the code a little bit. This is a really good source for anybody that wants to find out about Bluetooth. If you've got some problems with Bluetooth, this is the website to go to. Okay, let's get straight into it. Let's have a look. When we dig into Bluetooth on iOS, there are three pages, the three core pages that I think are really the most useful. We have this core page, which is like the central Apple developer page for referencing anything related to Bluetooth. Then we have this page, which is the Bluetooth programming guide. It's quite old. It has everything you need to know how to connect to Bluetooth devices, how the flow goes between those two devices, like for data exchange with GATT, ATT, and L2 CAP, right? So these are, GATT is like the standard way you would get data from a peripheral. So basically, the core thing to know is you've got your central and your peripheral, which we've discussed in another video, and they connect. One of the things that's important with Bluetooth is foreground and background apps. Most Bluetooth apps are actually background. So what you would do is you'd have, like, say, a Bluetooth device, and you could have your phone off in the background. Your app's not open, but you're still communicating via Bluetooth. So you have background processing, the core Bluetooth background execution modes. You need to set that up in your app info plist. The thing to remember is when you have a device that you connect to during the connection process and it disconnects because you don't manually disconnect it or delete the device, but the user walks away, you want to make sure you connect to it straight away. And when the connection happens, you can you'll just happen automatically. Another thing to do is when your app starts up, you want to have a list of the actual devices that you've previously connected. So what happens, the app starts up, you have those saved devices, then you actually just connect to them, even though they're not nearby or not, right? So a good thing to do is when you, here it is, state preservation and restoration. So you will wake up the app. The app will get the on state, I think it's, reinstate your peripheral managers. Did finish launching with options, implement appropriate restoration delegate. Yes, so you have your central will restore state. You get that and you work out what state it's in. And also power on is another one. You can get a list of saved peripherals and do it that way. So there's a few paths you can take, but generally will restore state will tell you what devices were saved. You'll get those peripherals and you just connect to them. And if they're nearby, the connection will happen. If they're not, it'll maintain a connection attempt until the device is nearby, which is a lot easier than the Android version because the Android version, you need like a separate library. It's a whole different world. So really, that's it. I mean, we can jump straight into an example. If you don't know Objective-C, that's okay. We can just kind of look at the life cycle, right? So we'll go into our peripheral manager and what that peripheral manager will here will update the state. We'll get the characteristics that we want here, and we'll add the service. So the main thing is when you connect to a device, it needs to be one that you've discovered. So essentially the process goes, you discover a device based on what services it has, you then connect to it, and then you read all of the characteristics and services. And once you've done that, you can write to those characteristics, communicate with them, and they'll perform whatever activity on Bluetooth, on the Bluetooth device. And that's a quick summary. I've been doing it for a long time. I know I'm saying it's pretty straightforward, but really you have a central, you have a peripheral, you have characteristics that store data, and they exchange between the two. And look, if you are interested in learning more, you can contact me directly here on YouTube. We do a lot of consulting for BLE, LoRa, and other protocols. So I actually think that BLE is really good for low energy communication. But if you want real connectivity that is stable and reliable, then go for Wi-Fi, which we'll talk about in another episode. Wi-Fi is a lot easier to use, and you can just use it kind of like sockets layer, but there's a lot of overhead with the stack. Bluetooth is a lot smaller, a lot less power. Guys, that's it for a quick summary of BLE and the things you want to know. The web pages are here. You've got your Bluetooth programming guide, you have your documentation reference manual, and you have your kind of like central place. These links are all in the description. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you at the next episode. Bye.